Hello, Internet. Welcome to Cocktails and Curveballs, where it always goes down smooth. I'm Tyler, and I'll be your host tonight. We'd like to start our show by giving a big, huge shout-out, thank yous to our men and women who have served this country, past, present, anybody thinking about doing it in the future. Thank you guys so much. You guys are the reason that the four of us can sit here and talk this shit. We want to give another huge shout-out, thank yous to our first responders. You know, you guys make the world go around. So before we get into our introductions, we usually start this podcast off with a little bit of a rant. And for me, I am so goddamn tired of flipping ESPN on to watch something that I actually do want to watch, whether it is UFC fights or whatever it may be. And there's a goddamn basketball game that's got 5 minutes left at the end of the game. Basketball games drag out so fucking long. I don't know why whoever's in charge of scheduling it, you know, the TV, give them an extra fucking half hour. Don't make me think I'm going to flip on something that I'm actually going to watch and there's 7.5 minutes left of a basketball game that's going to take another 45 fucking minutes. Tired of it. Hate it, man. So that's that. Some introductions here. Hey, Pat, what you drinking?
Tonight, I'm drinking a little bit of Firefly. It's iced tea flavored vodka. Very easy sip and drink. I call it a dinner drink, but you have a few of them, and I end up drinking it all fucking night. So, but it's good. Goes good over the rocks. Very refreshing. Anybody who hasn't had Firefly vodka, I suggest you try some. Pretty tasty.
Nice. We like that. Pat, I like that. Lee, what do you got, man?
Okay, so in honor of, technically there's a reason why, but normally I drink micro beers. In honor of the majestic fucking lion, I am drinking Coors Light. And the reason the mountains are fucking blue, bro. I'm just saying, you can see it. The reason I'm drinking Coors Light is because, boys, my alcohol stash is down to damn near nothing. And this is what I've got left in the fridge. And I've been drinking them all day while I'm doing chores and shit. But I'm telling you, you can't go wrong. You can drink 30 of these. You can drink 30 of them and you can be upright and talking to everybody. So, nice. Yeah, that's pretty much all I'm doing today, buddies.
Nice. Yeah, my just for the record, my alcohol intake this weekend has been off the rails. My stash is getting low too.
Can I get a golf clap on that one? Golf clap?
Yes,
Let's
absolutely.
get a golf clap.
Fuck yeah.
All right.
Jim.
Well, I'm not going to lie, guys. A little bit under the weather. I'm not going to play it off like putting water in a beer bottle or something because I think that would just make me puke worse. So I'm doing the old Gatorade Zero sugar, 0 calories. Gatorade, shameless plug.
Wow.
That's why I got your back, Jimmy.
That's
why I got your back.
Atta boy. Atta kid.
That'd be so kick-ass.
Jim.
That would be so cool if Gatorade sponsored this.
Wouldn't it?
Oh, man. Yeah. Right?
Holy shit.
Yeah. I'd be a Gatorade drinking biatch.
Holy shit. All right. Well, let's get into it a little bit. The first thing that I'd like to talk about is the World Baseball Classic. You know, for better or worse, it's going on. Personally, I like it. I think it's super cool to have some of the best players representing their countries. You know, of course, there's downsides to it, and you know, I think we definitely have some differing opinions on it. Pat, what do you think about the World Baseball Classic?
Well, a couple points I want to make really quick. First of all, I don't know if it's been made as big a deal as it should be, but I love seeing Mike Trout, and Mike Trout loves seeing Mike Trout. This is the closest thing that Mike Trout has ever come to the postseason, which is real unfortunate. We did a show, a substantial, few months ago where we talked about contracts, and one of the things I had brought up is, I'm just going to kind of paraphrase. I felt sad for Mike Trout that he signed that big contract to the Angels because I felt like he'll never see the postseason. And who doesn't want to see Mike Trout at the plate, bottom of the ninth, down by 2, bases loaded? I don't know if we'll ever see that, unfortunately. But him in the world, I mean, you watch his emotions, everything going on, the way he's playing, man, he's like reborn, and he's absolutely having a terrific classic. You know, it's really hard. It's really hard to discount. I know there's fans that are upset or not really upset, but would rather their favorite baseball team's players don't participate because of injury. There's already been a couple injuries, and you got talking about some pretty valuable pieces are going to be out for the season. I just feel like this is kind of the prelude to the season. I mean, spring training, how much passion and energy and effort are some of these stars going to really put into spring training? They're not even going to play half the games, that's first of all. But when they get into the Classic, you can bet your ass that they're I mean, they got their game face on. They're going all out. You look at some of the plays that Arenado's making at third. I mean, he's doing everything he can to help his team win. What I think that does is by the time the season comes around, in my opinion, they hit the ground running, man. They're already in mid-season form. So I get the whole the controversy as far as, well, my closer's out for the season now, or, well, I'd rather him not play and stay healthy. You know what? If they're going to get injured, I'd rather them get injured in the Classic than in spring training, which is, who cares about spring training? Honestly, they're fun to go watch, but games don't matter. So I like it. I like it even more that Trey Turner is on record as saying that that's the loudest he's ever heard people cheer for a home run that he's hit. Guy's been in the league for how many years? Played in some of the biggest stadiums. Played in Dodger Stadium.
And has played in some big games.
Yeah.
The huge games. He's been in the playoffs. I played in how many, 24, maybe as many as 40 playoff. I mean, a ton of playoff games. And he's on record saying he's never heard an applause that loud. So you got to love seeing the excitement on a player's face. And just to coattail that, the fans that are watching, they love it, man. I mean, at this point in time, there's no way you could say, listen, we're not doing it. I mean, you got to do it. And I love it. I think the excitement's great. I think it's good for all parties involved. And
I don't know how you guys feel about it, but this World Baseball Classic feels different. Like, for some reason, to me personally, it feels like it matters more. For I don't know any real reason. I don't know.
I concur.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
100%.
Lee, what do you think, man?
Honestly, so obviously I just lost a star player for the season because of the WBC. But how I look at this thing is, to me, and I don't know how you guys are about, like, even the Olympics, but when it's country versus country, I mean, there's a lot of pride behind these players.
Sure.
I mean, that they're going to walk away when they're, making $15 million to play for a professional team in the United States, to go play for Venezuela, or to go play for the country, that their origin is from. It's one of those slippery slopes for me where I love it. And I think, Tyler, you're 100% right. This year does feel different. And I kind of go back to the whole, man, back when I was a kid watching the Olympics, when these countries go against each other, it's different than going to spring training. Yeah. I'm in the Grapefruit League, and I'm a star and I'm making $15 million a year, and I'll go play an inning and a half, and then I'll take a couple games off. I mean, how much are they really doing? But what it makes me question is, especially some of these players, Altuve, these players that have gotten injured, okay? That's going to affect their professional job. Honestly, for me, it makes me question more their conditioning, because realistically, spring training it's fun. It's cool to, see some stats or hear about a pitcher that showed up and did great. But the reality of the situation is, it's kind of like It's like summer camp, man. It's like, okay, so we're going to go throw a couple balls and I'm going to play an inning or two. But when these guys commit to the classic, oh no, there is a huge level of importance behind it. Like, okay, so I'm playing for my country. Okay, my family immigrated, whether he was born in the United States or not, my family immigrated from here. And I'm going to go represent because you know what? That's my heritage. Right. You know what I mean? So I honestly believe that it's a great thing. It's tough for me as a huge Major League Baseball fan to see Edwin Diaz go down. I'm not going to lie. That one hurts. Yeah. That hurts a lot for my team. But you know what? The reality for me is I would much rather these guys actually do a lot more training and put the work in so that they're up to speed right now to play in the classic versus go sipping Mai Tais in Florida, for the Grapefruit League. I don't think it needs to happen. But again, they have to condition themselves, and these guys are professionals. So yes, they should be in top shape because this is their job. But I actually madly respect the classic for the fact of it. It is, to me, it's like watching the fucking Olympics, guys. I mean, it's not like it's like the US versus Canada in 1980 in Lake Placid. I mean, the miracle. I mean, it's that. It's like, okay, so all right. Well, so we beat we beat Venezuela. So we're going to be the first game in the semifinals. Okay? We're playing Cuba. Cuba barely squeaked that game out. And I wish I could remember who it was, but it was like 4-3 that Cuba won. I think we won 9-7 against Venezuela. And we're going to be the first game in the semifinals. That's cool to me. I want to watch that game.
It's going to be a good game.
US versus Cuba, like Bay of Pig shit. Like, sorry, but you know
I
what
like
I'm saying.
the point about the guys that actually are making money in the league. I think they can afford the opportunity, to go play in the World Baseball Classic, where there's a lot of these guys who haven't signed that big deal yet. I think that just goes to show how much playing for their country really means to a lot of these guys. Because, as we've talked about too, like anything could happen. Something bad could happen in spring training just as well as it could in the World Baseball Classic.
Sure.
But
sure.
I mean, I don't know off the top of my head, but I can't imagine these guys getting paid hardly anything to play in the World Baseball Classic, and then putting potentially their career in jeopardy. I think that's a real big deal. Jim, what do you think?
Most of them, go, Jimmy. That's true. Nice.
Well, it comes down to, and we touched on it a little bit, it comes down to the level of commitment that these guys have made and who made it for me to play for their country. And I'll just, touch on the U.S. team real quick, but that lineup is sick.
Yes,
Holy
it
shit.
is. It really is.
Trey Turner hitting ninth, leading the WBC in home runs. Hit another one tonight.
Yeah.
The lineup is six, just MVPs up and down the roster. Got guys sitting that are making $20 million a year. Of course, our rotation pitching, our rotation is a little weak, and I kind of get that, opposed to position players. Who wants to go out there and throw an extra, and this is a thing to where we're playing every other day.
Sure.
Sometimes it's been every day. So some of these pitchers, they're putting in the work. They're throwing their extra 70, 80 pitches. Again,
and much more high leverage.
Yeah. Than spring training. But
right.
Is it that, or are they just out throwing bullpens in spring training like they would do? Come in and throw 2 innings and then go throw a bullpen.
Right.
I love the level of competition. I love that the players that are playing for their own countries are also all-stars. You look at the Dominican.
Oh, yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. It's
Japan,
ridiculous.
Crazy.
Well, I think
Japan.
the pride is so huge for these players. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm getting at, and that's what that's what gets me is that, and I think maybe the reason this one does feel a little different is because the talent level, when we look at
absolutely.
our lineup, that's number one. Number two, we're defending. We're defending our titles. So I'd love it. I'd love the World Baseball Classic, and I'm incredibly proud of these all-stars that are out playing for their country and really don't. If you're going to get hurt, you're going to get hurt. You know, you're playing a professional sport. All right. For somebody to say, well, if it wasn't for the WBC, Edwin Diaz or Jose Altuve would have been hurt. You don't know that. You don't know that. They could have got Altuve could have got beamed by a guy that's going to be fucking bagging groceries.
Right.
In a couple weeks.
Fact.
You know, fractured his hand or whatever. So let's put that aside, the injuries. And by the way, we're talking about 2 guys.
Right.
Out of all of the teams.
Right.
So the percentage is incredibly low. They just happen to be very high profile guys.
I have a question. So can anybody how many years now is this? Because they haven't been doing it a whole lot of years, this
4.
classic, right?
This is the 4th.
Okay.
4th.
So that was my next. I thought it was 3rd, but okay, 4th. So I'll throw you guys something and see what your thoughts on this is. Do you think that maybe the reason why this feels different is because now that this classic is up and running, and maybe I know the first couple, a whole lot of players didn't commit, but I think now you've got a bigger pool. A lot of players are getting into it. I just think that it's grown exponentially every single year. And now with, like you said, Jim, United States having to defend, other countries are coming for us. I just think that it's gotten to the level that it's extremely exciting and interesting for a lot of big league ball players. I mean, more than it's been in the past. I just think that it just has gotten bigger every year, and this year is probably the biggest it's been since it started.
Well, and
it was Mike Trout, right? That he was like the first one that committed, right, to Team USA. Yes. And I mean, like, he was kind of the catalyst, right, to like this super lineup that they put together.
Right.
And I, just to go back on the point of, these are, for Mike Trout especially, like, these are some of his biggest moments, which is crazy.
Ever.
It's sad almost. I mean, it's in the World Baseball Classic, and like you said, also, I mean, he's tearing it up, right? Like it's just big hit after big hit.
It's Mike Trout being Mike Trout.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And
regular season Mike Trout
on the world stage,
right?
On the world stage,
on a stage where
people get to see him.
Right, Major League on a stage where Major League Baseball wants people to see Mike Trout, the playoff, right? Is what how bad does the Major League want to see Mike Trout in the playoffs and have a good and have dominate the playoffs?
Yeah, I feel like
that'd be huge. That'd be huge. It'd be huge for baseball.
Yeah. We'll post back. We had a podcast that we will put out that we talked about this, and we got in depth on this on contracts, and it is so real though. Mike Trout, I mean, I don't know in the next 2 years plus if he's still going to be an Angel. I really don't. But it is awesome to see him in a playoff atmosphere, which is what the WBC is.
And his expression, you see him get a hit. I mean, dude, it's like he's 20 years old all over again. I mean, he's
fired up.
He's never experienced anything like this. I just feel bad for him. I wish he wouldn't have taken a contract because, like we said in the earlier podcast, he would have gotten that money from anybody. He didn't have to get it from the Angels. He could have got that money from anybody. And what the Angels would have gotten if they would have traded him instead of signed him, they would have raped somebody of their entire farm system. They could have gotten whatever they wanted from Mike Trout. To me, it was a dumb contract on both sides of the fence. But
agreed.
Sure. Yeah.
And that will come out. We'll put that out. That was a good one.
Yeah.
And what's interesting too to me, on another note on the World Baseball Classic, is a guy like Shohei Ohtani, right? Who's another one. He's having a great World Baseball Classic. But
he is.
that Japanese team, there's only a few guys that are in our Major League Baseball. Most of those guys play over in Japan, like the vast majority of them.
Right.
You know, and then another team like the Korean team, you know, all those guys play in a pro league in South Korea.
Right.
And then they can come out and compete with, you know, the best of the best. Because there's no doubt, right? Major League Baseball that's the top tier league. That's the best league.
Right.
You know, and it's so in that aspect too, I think it's kind of interesting that there's not more Japanese players that obviously can play ball. How many of them come over and they don't all, you know, set the world on fire, Shohei Ohtani style, but there's so many of those guys that could be serviceable in the MLB, you know,
or better than that, or better than
right. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, floor level would be serviceable in the major league. So I think that part of it's kind of interesting too, is seeing guys, and like I said, the Japanese team, just because it's Shohei Ohtani, you know, and a bunch of guys from the Japanese professional league who can compete with anybody.
Can we all admit?
You know?
Can we all admit that Jimmy brought this up before in previous podcasts? What the hell is Ohtani's contract going to look like?
And we're going to find out soon.
I mean,
probably within 2 years, maybe probably at the end of 23. Yeah,
I don't think so.
Yeah, like really soon.
Yeah, he's already looking at. Yeah, he's already looking at. And he's going to sign him.
So we know what Mike Trout signed for, and Ohtani is like nothing anybody's ever seen, and I can't even imagine what money that's going to be and what it's going to be.
He's unreal.
Yeah, he is. Both sides, by the way.
Yeah,
because on the mound, he was hitting 102 miles an hour the other night he pitched. He's throwing 102. Yeah. I mean, that just Jesus, wow. That's all I got for him.
True.
Wow.
I can't imagine the amount of coin that'll be thrown at that man. I have no idea what that's like.
Have your pitcher hitting in the 3-hole.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah. And bat like 462 for the. I mean, Jesus, unbelievable.
Yeah. And pounding the ball out of the park.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
everything's
and then goes out in the bottom of the inning and strikes out the side. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. on like 12 pitches. You know?
Right. Yeah. Just gas right by people. It's crazy.
I want that job.
Jesus. Yeah, I want that talent.
The talent. I couldn't do the job, I don't think. A team would be in a bad spot if I was their 3-hitter and pitcher.
No.
Holy shit.
Come on, T, give yourself some credit.
No way.
Yeah.
That'd be a sad day. Have you guys heard about that the Czech Republic team? But those guys are just like a bunch of regular dudes.
Yeah.
Really?
They're like plumbers and electricians and shit.
Yep.
It's crazy. But that's another part. Outside of like just, you know, the mass influx of talent that we're seeing in this World Baseball Classic. And then you got a team like that like, I think that's that aspect of the World Baseball Classic so cool too. Like they're just normal guys.
Think about having to win your region.
Oh,
so you can get in. And here's a bunch of just handymen.
Plumbers and, you know, occasionally install ceiling fans, you know, right on.
Right.
I think they need to market it better. I think the WBC needs to be marketed better. I know it's 4 years in the running, but I do think if they did it properly, I mean, the way they pump up, and I'm sorry, boys, the NBA, and I have left the NBA, and there's a lot of reasons why I won't get into, but I'm going to tell you right now, if they would promote it in a similar fashion, I think the WBC would be huge, and I hope it will. But we're talking 4 years in, so let's make it happen because
right now the game is on FS1, which to me is bullshit. You know,
I agree.
Why can't it be on regular Fox that people can actually? I believe you can get that if you've got an antenna.
Yeah, ESPN2, something, you know.
but it's on FS1, which a lot of people, especially now with streaming services and stuff like that, have to either pay extra for or don't have it all. And so, what the hell is wrong with Fox for not putting at least the semifinals from here on out?
Right.
On actual Fox instead of
look at the Olympics.
Channel.
Olympics are on regular channels. Well, how is this not any bigger than the fucking Olympics, man? Really? I mean, it's just you represent your country. So yeah, it's. I think it's horseshit the way that there's just not enough publicity on it. I think that needs to change, and I think it will going forward. I think it really.
I'm hoping.
And you listen to Cocktails and Curveballs. Fuck, there's all the promotion you need. Listen to Cocktails and Curveballs, baby.
That's a fact.
True that.
All right, man. So shifting gears a little bit. We'll get into the NFL, huh? Everybody loves NFL's king, right? 12 months out of the year, you can talk NFL. So with free agency going on, right? Outside of the Aaron Rodgers debacle, Lamar Jackson. That's the big news. That's the hot topic. It's wild, right? It's somewhat unprecedented, I think. What's going on? It's not something that we see from a 26-year-old former MVP that's with the accolades that he has, and it's almost a guaranteed huge contract. So I'm curious to see what you guys think about why maybe that it's been drug out the way it's been drug out. How do we look into our little crystal balls and see, how do we think this is going to play out? And disclaimer, I'm a Ravens fan, so this is near and dear to my heart, but I think I can be pretty fair about this. I think, but yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys think about it. Anybody want to start us off?
Yeah, I will. So here's the thing. Great talent. Unbelievable talent. He's a cheat code on your game controller, at any given time. The problem is there's two problems. One, he doesn't have an agent. He's trying to do this himself.
I think he's being advised pretty well by the NFLPA, from what I understand. But still, no, yes, I think, yeah.
But not having somebody like, and if you're Lamar Jackson, you get the Scott Borrases of the world. You get a super agent, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so being advised by the union is way different than being advised by a super agent. That's number one.
Absolutely.
Well, doesn't it feel like a conflict of interest? I mean, doesn't it feel like a conflict of interest?
It does to me. If that's really true, it does. It does to me, and I don't think that's in Lamar Jackson's best interest. But that's just
right. I agree.
Number two, he's asking for a 100% guaranteed contract. Now, I get it. Okay, and I want to say the number is 130, 140. Asking for, but guaranteed, the whole thing. Now, here's the thing. This man has also missed 40% of his games the last 2 years.
Right. Injuries. Yep.
He's always going to be known. I don't care what anybody says about how good he can possibly throw the ball. The fact of the matter is 2-3 reads and he's running. Am I right on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
He doesn't wait. He's not patient back there. So are we ever going to see his true potential as a passer? We're going to have to, because now his last few injuries have been leg injuries. And how long can he do this? And I think that's what we're seeing, because he signed, or the Ravens signed him on a non-inclusive or non-exclusive franchise tag.
Wild, right? Like that's one of the craziest parts to this whole thing.
It's because they're hoping and praying that somebody comes in and says, "Yeah, I'll give you all that guaranteed money and take you off our hands." Baltimore.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
But I think Lamar is
nobody
fucking
is
himself.
though. That's what I'm saying. Nobody
Not yet.
is.
Not
You
yet.
know?
Well,
Yeah.
but you think if somebody would have jumped in, they would have already. I mean, there should be a handful of teams interested, and there's just not.
Well, listen, in the NFL, half the teams are quarterback needy.
Right.
Okay.
In any given season.
Any given season. That's right. But nobody is. That's the weird thing that is crazy. Not even Baltimore is exclusive with it,
Right.
which is basically saying, yeah, you can go talk to other teams. Let's see what we get a couple first rounders out of this.
Right.
You know?
Baltimore didn't want to walk away from a fucking stud quarterback, even though they don't want to pay him Deshaun Watson money. I mean, honestly.
Well, that's another one, right, Lee? Like that's one of the biggest wrenches that's thrown into this entire thing, and maybe the whole right is the Deshaun Watson contract, right?
Yes, sir.
And I think that's what's throwing the big wrench in this thing, because he's asking for everything guaranteed, man. And I know Deshaun. I know how much Deshaun was. I don't think it was 100% guaranteed, or was it for Deshaun? But it was like asinine
230 or
money.
250.
Yeah, but it wasn't 100%.
No,
it's astronomically bigger than the next quarterback guaranteed money. It's like it's absurd.
Wilson is up there.
Hey, you guys,
he's like at 120.
Never forget the contract that Mahomes just signed a couple years ago. What was that? $600 million? Was it worth $600 million?
Yeah,
I think it was like $600
it was
million.
over $500 million. Yeah, it was over $500 million.
It's like $600 million. So it wasn't just with Deshaun, and I'm sure Jackson is looking saying, okay, well, Mahomes got this, Deshaun got this. I'm an MVP. Look at the numbers I'm putting up. I want every bit. I'm sure that's what he's looking at.
More than anybody, it's the Deshaun money.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Here's a guy that sat out 11 games. Here's a guy that sat out 11 games for
and got look what he got.
Oh, wait, and we don't know how many more lawsuits are going to pop up on his ass as he's now playing for the Browns. You don't know. Yeah. The guy is obviously he's a stretch, and for them to guarantee that kind of money is asinine to me. And I think Lamar, and I feel bad for Baltimore, Tyler. I feel bad. Baltimore fans, Lamar Jackson's fucking electric. Okay, but you look at the injuries.
Yeah, that's.
You really want to lock your franchise up to that much guaranteed money for someone that might play 50% of the games for whatever length of time he can play? I don't know. Yeah. Maybe he'll get smarter.
Well,
Mahomie, just for the record, real quick, Mahomie is that giant contract only 145 guaranteed.
Exactly.
Okay, so there you go. So Mahomes ain't getting. So okay, can we all agree that the thing, in my opinion, or at least the way it sounds on the surface, one of the big roadblocks in Jackson getting anywhere near what he's wanting are 100% the injuries. I mean, that's what it's got to be, right? There's nothing else.
Well, that and 100% he's demanding guaranteed.
Right. But at least he would get closer to that had it not been for the injuries. That's all I'm saying.
I think it's that. So I think it's that and the guaranteed money.
From something that I see, because like I said, disclaimer, I am a Ravens fan, so I watch all their games. I think that when you sign your quarterback to the huge deal, right, the $45 million plus deal, it eats up so much cap that you can't surround in most instances, right? Like, of course, there's geniuses that they can work caps in all kinds of crazy ways, but to break it down for people who aren't very smart like us, right? Like you just see that base number, and it's so hard to add enough talent. So I think, in my very humble opinion, I think the Ravens don't want to. I don't think that they think Lamar Jackson is worth that slice of the pie to be able to not sign or re-sign other guys who are keys to that team. I think that they saw what happened with Joe Flacco.
Yep.
And how, I mean, it no bullshit crippled the franchise. Like,
Sure.
they couldn't surround. There wasn't enough money at that point to go around to sign anybody, or the talent level was just not there. And Joe Flacco couldn't shoulder his percent of that cap pie. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you have a Patrick Mahomes, or you have some of these guys that a perfect example, right, is the Pat Mahomes. He signed that huge deal, and they have to make cuts somewhere, right? Like that's just fuck. We're not smart men, but that's it. That's how it has to be, right? Like there's not enough money to go around. So he goes out this year with a Juju Smith-Schuster, and you know what I mean, though? Like they couldn't afford to pay Tyreek Hill. And you're like, oh, fuck, what are they going to do? Like, Tyreek Hill is such a huge part of that team, And he's worth that kind of money because he can go out. He can say, yeah, I take up a quarter of the cap. But guess what? I'm worth it, And that's I think, wherein lies the trouble. A lot of it with Lamar Jackson is that I don't think that the Ravens think he's so good that they can trim the fat other places and still be a Super Bowl contender, which is what every team. If you're signing the guy to that big deal, you better be a Super Bowl contender like right now, or you're fucked.
Well, and the thing is that the Ravens traditionally have one of the best front offices in the NFL.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And if they don't think that, got news for you guys. It's probably true.
It's probably true.
Yeah.
And what team's gonna go, well, these guys fucking miss right and left because they don't.
They don't.
Right.
For the most part. For the most part, right? They're pretty good with keeping guys that they think are worth it and letting go of guys that franchise. For the most part.
That
team money, like
that money in contract, you can't not leverage everything on that player.
That's what I mean.
That's you're 1,000% right. That's why Lamar and the Ravens, there's a disconnect there. It's not that they don't love him. It's not that they don't want him to be their quarterback.
I agree.
It's like, listen, if I give you what you want, our talent level is going to drop immensely, and then you're not going to look so good, and you'll be happy because when you're in Fiji on your island, sipping Mai Tais, it'll sound great, but it's not the same, man.
Then you're tied to it for 3 or 4 seasons where that money's gone, man. Like the money's gone, and you can't bring in help. Like you're a sinking ship, right?
I want to hear from everybody here. I'll start with Tyler. I want to just hear from everybody what you think is going to happen. Does he stay with the Ravens or is he gone?
I think this, with what's gone on with other franchises, not like that 1:00 deadline. At that 1:00, that there weren't 15 teams that went, here's an offer sheet. Here's an offer sheet. I think it could be eye-opening. And that's and Jim, you mentioned the not having an agent part of it. It's, from what I understand, those are tough conversations. With NFL franchises and how they're going to try and pay somebody in negotiating contracts. I mean, Lamar Jackson's sitting in on it. He's his agent.
So do you think he's staying?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'll give you an answer. I'll give you an answer that I think he plays this season. I think he makes his 32 mil. They've been trying to work on a contract for like 2 seasons, like 2 full years, and haven't met anywhere. So I think a lot of it is going to be, if any team is willing to give him that offer I mean, I
There's
don't know
got to
that
be
the
a team,
Ravens.
right? I mean, isn't there?
There's got to be a team.
Just
I don't.
because teams are dumb. There's a lot of dumb fucking teams out there, man.
He's only going to make. He's only going to make 32 this season.
Only.
So you're like,
No fucking only.
right,
Holy
not
shit.
only. Right. But how is a team not going? Fuck, we'll pay you 35,
Right?
or something, or so
40.
something goofy.
Fuck, we'll throw you
okay,
40.
Right, that's what I'm
Honestly-
saying. Something goofy,
honestly,
right? Something goofy.
See, I honestly think because everything we talked about, Lamar representing himself, I think Lamar's fucking himself. I really do. I think he's the reason why something hasn't happened. If he was so adamant to get out of Baltimore, he'd be gone. Fuck. For all we know, he'd be in Miami. He'd be in Pittsburgh. We don't know.
You don't know. Yeah, you don't know what goes on though.
But,
Behind. You
but
just
that's the
don't know.
thing. This is what I'm saying, though. I
And
think
it's so
he is
hush hush.
so
This whole thing
adamant.
has been so hush hush.
But
Here's a take for
when
you.
Baltimore, but when Baltimore came out and said non-exclusive franchise tag, that means keep talking to everybody.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So fine, go talk to everybody. But I think everybody is scared shitless of the guaranteed money that he's demanding because they know it'll cripple the franchise.
And you
So
want to
who-
talk collusion? You want to talk collusion? Who gives a fuck? If all the owners go, hey, Jim Haslam, you fucking asshole, you fucked that up, buddy. You know, and then they all went, we're not doing it.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
You fucked that up. And Deshaun Watson's already restructuring his contract. You know, and talk collusion, talk whatever you want, but if NFL owners go, no, not gonna happen. Guess what? It's not gonna happen.
Right.
Here's a take for you. This might be far-fetched, but I think, and I could be way off, but I think the Ravens and Lamar have gotten to a point where it's irreparable damage, differences, and I think he's gone. I think he's going to be traded. I mean, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen before the start of the season. But I do think that there's going to be a little bit of give on Lamar. There's going to be a little bit of give on Ravens, and some team's going to offer 2 firsts, a second, a third, and a fifth, and they're going to walk away with Lamar Jackson. I just think I don't know.
Well,
I mean, it's like catching your wife cheating on you. I'm not saying that's what's going on, but it's like that. How do you go back? How do you go back?
Well, here's
I
a bigger question though. So he's got the franchise tag, right? If there's no takers, right, to offer him the mad money for that trade, is he going to play, or is he going to sit out and take his money?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
right.
kind of what I was going to bring up is that injury last year, did that warrant him out for the whole season?
No.
Or was this that kind of a precursor of what we're going to see? You know, if he does play for the Ravens.
And that's hard too, though, right? Because like that's a lot of money. We're talking about like life-changing money. Like you're changing your whole family's everything forever.
Right.
Like that's generational wealth. So
Sure.
to say like we can all sit here and be armchair quarterbacks, but I mean if he said I'm not fucking playing the RG3 thing, right?
Yep.
He came back in a knee brace and fucked his career up. He lost so much money.
Yeah.
On the other hand, you got Le'Veon Bell, who I'm not playing under the franchise tag. Came back and his career was over.
Yeah.
Yeah, his career was over.
His career was over, you know.
Right.
But I'm also looking at the draft, and I'm seeing teams moving up, you know, after these rookie quarterbacks. There's some of these teams that have a lot of cap space.
Yep.
Now,
Yeah.
do you, if this isn't getting done and you see Lamar Jackson sitting there with a non-exclusive franchise tag, do you say, well, you know, after Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, you know, my rant tonight actually, if I was going to host, was going to be on this goddamn draft and the mock drafts and everything else. and this Anthony Richardson moving up to some people's number one taken by the Panthers. Are you kidding me?
No way.
It's ridiculous. But anyway, I'm getting off track. So outside of maybe Stroud and Young, if you're sitting there in that 3-4 hole, you know, unless you already have a superstar, do you say we'll move the Ravens up there? We're going to take Lamar Jackson. The Ravens move up to that spot. Maybe they get that Will Levis or Anthony Richardson or whatever for a ton of draft capital. That's the other reason why there's just something that we don't know, guys.
Right, I agree with that.
We got to watch it play out, because you would think that with all these teams that are moving up in the draft, Carolina, who has
Carolina
since Cam Newton, by the way,
right.
But and the Texans, you know, sitting at number 2, but now the Raiders have moved up, but they already got Jimmy G, you know.
Oh yeah.
Do you? There's another. They're right there. The Raiders, who traditionally go after the big names. They traditionally want to make a splash somewhere. They didn't jump in that sweepstakes.
Mm-mm.
You know, God, there's just got to be something behind the scenes that we're not seeing.
I'm
think
sure there
we
is.
need to watch. I think we just need to see it play out, and watch what happens. I think it's going to be super interesting. I think somebody's getting fucked one way or the other. You know, whether it's Lamar Jackson or whether it's the Ravens. I don't think this.
I feel like something's going to happen that everybody's going to go.
I don't think it's going to be the Ravens. I don't think the Ravens are getting fucked, because even if he leaves, they're not. He's not leaving without them getting a king's ransom of picks.
But here's the thing: what if he stays and then decides we're going to play? Okay, so the Ravens don't necessarily. I don't know if they've got to pay him. But the thing is, yeah, I think they have
not his full contract. Not his full contract if he refuses to play, but he's physically able.
Pay him something. But at any rate, so he says, I'm not playing. Now, where does that leave the Ravens sitting down with a chance that they're not going to get one of the top 4 quarterbacks in the draft? They're going to have to go after another, or Tyler Huntley's going to be their quarterback. Tyler Huntley is going to be their quarterback. You know, and so the Ravens could get fucked on this deal.
Yeah. If he stays there and it really gets nasty, I would say that's the only way the Ravens could get fucked. That's true. And I think if he leaves, and for better or for worse, I really think that at this point in time, the Ravens would be much better off if they could work out a trade. They traded him, because I think what they would bring in, they could rebuild that fucking franchise.
I honestly think, Pat, I think it would be a sign and trade. And I think they would get 5 years worth of draft picks for Lamar
That's what
Jackson.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
I think they would sign him for some stupid money. Because I don't know, man.
I know.
There's
There's
something that we don't know. The media's not reporting.
Right.
Both sides aren't talking.
Right.
Nope.
They're not at
Nobody's
all.
saying anything. Because why haven't they already? Especially how many quarterback needy teams right now in the NFL could their playoff teams with him.
Oh,
yeah, but maybe there's something against him with the owners. Like this,
I don't think it's collusion. Yeah, it's called a guaranteed fucking $150 million contract.
And they're like, no. So we're gonna let him just sit back and see what he wants to do. And eventually, if something doesn't happen with Baltimore, he's gonna end up having to take not a fully guaranteed fucking contract, so he can get that money to support his family for the next fucking 50 years. You know what I mean? So I don't know where it goes, man, but we are certainly missing a lot because nothing's out there.
Right.
So speaking of somebody getting fucked, we here on Cocktails and Curveballs, it's not just sports. We're some people who fancy the booze. So something else that I'd love to talk about is, when have you found yourself in a situation, for better or for worse, that you threw your inhibitions to the wind and you said, fuck it. Today, tonight, whatever is the day, I'm getting obliterated. I'm getting smashed. I don't care what happens. I imagine everybody in here has done that before. Maybe.
Several times, I'm sure.
I mean, are we talking every other day, or are we talking?
That's right. Yeah. Anybody got a good reason to do it?
I got
one.
All
Two.
right,
go, Pat. You go first. I want to hear you, Pat.
So, several years ago, when I was going through the apprenticeship program, alignment apprenticeship program, anybody who knows anything about it, I know Tyler is dealing with that right now. So this is going to be like speaking a second language to him. But anybody who isn't aware, the alignment apprenticeship program, if it's not the toughest apprenticeship program to get through, it's got to be top 3. Really tough. And not just because you're working above, so many feet above the ground every day, but you also got the high voltage electricity you're dealing with, the rigging, everything's heavy. It's safety. I mean, you can't have your mind. It's just a really dangerous job anyways. I mean, electricity lineman is a top 10 most dangerous job in the world. And so to get through the apprenticeship, and it's not even just the safety, the hazardous stuff. It is the guys that you're working with every day. It's a mind fuck. They mess with you every day. It's very difficult to get through. So that being said, I went down and I tested for lineman, and I had passed my written, and I had passed my the yard portion of it. And the way it was then, I don't know if it's changed now, but the way it was then is you get your ticket in the mail. And typically, if you don't have your ticket that night, they send it out that night, usually get it the next day, usually get it within a day. And when you get your first lineman's ticket, typically what you do is you either take a photocopy of it, or some guys actually just put it in a frame, stick it up on their wall, shows the date it's your very first, because all your union's tickets, they stay apprentice for 4 years. And so this is the first time it actually says journeyman lineman. Really big deal. And so I didn't get it the next day. I was really bummed, but in a way it worked out, because the next day would have been a Wednesday, I think. And I wasn't trying to go out and drink, it's cause for celebration. Well, I was sitting around the house on a Friday, and I was getting pissed off. And I told my wife at the time, I said, I can't believe my fucking lineman's ticket hasn't come. She's like, what are you talking about? I said, well, I was supposed to get my lineman's ticket in the mail. She's like, well, something came for you a couple of days ago, but I didn't think it was that important. So I'm like, so I got pissed. I'm like, hey, you're fucking mine. So I opened it up, and there was my ticket. So it just so happened that
is this one of a few reasons this is an X? I mean, I'm just asking for a friend.
Yeah, probably. So I technically got my ticket on a Wednesday, okay, but I didn't know about it till Friday, as luck would have it. Well, when I got the ticket, so not only was fuck, this is my ticket, I'm going to get fucked up because I'm finally a journeyman lineman, but also because fuck you, you bitch, you fucking held on, you stuck this in the fucking bill pay pile instead of fucking giving me my ticket. So needless to say, the next morning, the night was real fuzzy. It started out with shots. This might be shocking, but the next morning I woke up with I was wearing my boxers, no shirt, and I had a pair of split sole wrestling shoes that was on my feet. Now, Jim, anybody who wrestled knows that these aren't shoes you just slip on. You got to damn near pull all the laces out and sit there and wrestle your foot into the son of a bitch, before you get it on. Well, not only were they on my feet, but they're completely laced up and tied. I don't know who the fuck put them on my feet. I don't know if it was me. But imagine, like, I have my boxers on, no shirt, and my split sole wrestling shoes are tied up, laced, and tied nicely. And I'm sitting there going, who put these fuckers on my feet? And that's how I woke up next morning. That was a cloudy, cloudy night. I was hungover for 3 days. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Hey, nice job, Pat.
Good reason.
Jesus.
For real. I got okay, so I'll step in. I got actually, so there's gonna be a There's going to be one, and then there's going to be an addendum to it, or an honorary mention, so to speak. So the first one, believe it or not, was not that long ago. This is maybe 5.
No, we believe it.
Whatever years ago. Not that I drink very much, but I was going through a divorce, and I'm out. I got my own place, and it's bad. There's a lot of stress that goes in that. And I got the news that everything was done, and it had been a song and dance to get to that point. Not terrible, thank God, but it was a process. So I called up instantly as soon as I got it. I called up a couple buddies of mine and I said, "Listen, man, we are going out. Call in. Hey, you got time?" I knew these guys. I knew how long they'd been at their businesses. I said, "Y'all could take tomorrow off. You're taking tomorrow off." They're like, "Why?" I said, "We getting fucked up tonight." That's happening. And to say that I got fucked up is a little bit of an understatement. Because I don't remember anything past about 7:45 that night. I do know that I ended up in somebody's car that I don't know that delivered me to the place where I was staying with my buddy, which was like 4.5 blocks away from there. And that's where I got dropped off in a front yard. And I might have been throwing up a little bit. I don't know. There was a lot of shots going on that night. And that was, and it wasn't like it wasn't some big grand celebration. It's just like, okay, so now I can exhale a little bit about that event in my life, right? The honorary mention, though, is every single solitary day of my freshman year of college.
Oh, okay.
My freshman year of college, every single solitary day was hammered all the time. And as a matter of fact, I had a friend of mine. So this would have been, I'm not going to date myself, but my freshman year, towards the end of my first year, had a couple buddies of mine that I'd met go down to Mexico for spring break. Well, I didn't have that kind of money to go on some big spring break. They brought back a bottle of mezcal with the worm. And one friend, we decided we were going to hit that shot for shot until the end and then split the worm. And that's fucking exactly what we did. I had dry heaves for 3 days, boys. 3 days.
Awesome.
I couldn't even keep water down. So that's pretty much the worst story I got on that one. Jimmy can top it, I'm sure.
Actually, I can't. And what I was going to say on the subject is that I very rarely, and I can't think of a time where I've just said, we're getting fucked up. Let's do this. We're getting drunk. But, there's a certain look, especially you get around family, good friends that and there's just that look that, you give each other that it's like, oh boy, it's on. It's on. And that's usually when it is. I try never to do it, when I'm not in a good mood or do it over negative shit. It's always, over, well, we're going to do this because we want to, not because we need to, not because we need to forget anything,
right?
Because we want to, and it can all start with cracking a bottle of Pendleton, another shameless plug, cracking a bottle of Pendleton and throwing away the lid. It's on. Yeah. I mean, you're not till that bottle is gone. So that's usually the way it's always worked with me. I don't think I've ever really just come out and said, all right, boys, let's get fucked up. Now, I don't think I've ever really done that, but there is a certain look, especially around people that and that you can get super drunk around them because one way or the other, you're all going to be taken care of.
Of course. That's the biggest thing is they're going to have your back. Yeah.
So it's just kind of a look, or it's kind of a mindset when you get out there and the first thing you do is you want to order, let's do a round of chilled Hornitos for the,
man.
And if that's what you're starting out with, chances are that it's not going to go well.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's where I'm at with it. It just kind of happens. Quite frankly, probably a little too frequently, but it just kind of happens.
Sure.
I hate it.
Well, I'm glad
Ty's
they're
got a
all.
story.
Fuck, man, not really. Honestly, like I get too fucked up more than I should, and I'm a little bit. I mean, honestly, like, it's not for me. It's not usually like a. You know what? Fuck it. Let's get fucked up today. I'm usually going. Oh, I'm fucked up. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
You know, I'm usually
one
like
too many
looking
shots.
around. Yeah, looking around going, oh, I'm fucked up. Everybody's all fucked up. Yeah, we did it again.
Yeah.
That's,
No, I get it. Since I pick up what you're putting down, man.
Yeah, it I don't know. I'm glad everybody had more like celebration stories than, you know, something than it being for I don't know. I'm not gonna say the wrong reason. People can do whatever the hell they want to do, but
let me just
slippery.
say
That's a slippery slope.
On that note, let me just say, Lee, no good marriage has ever ended in a divorce. That really would be a tragedy. If two people that were madly crazy about each other said, "Fuck it, let's get divorced," that would be horrible. So just so you know, no good marriage ever ended in a divorce. So there's that.
If they just looked at each other and went, "Let's get fucked up."
Yeah, fuck it, man.
Sign it. I just printed these off. Sign them. Let's get fucked up.
2 tears in a bucket. I want to be fucking guzzling this shit.
We're not
7
Dr.
minutes from
Phil
now.
here. We're not going into relationship shit, but you're 100% correct. You're 100% correct.
Yeah.
And I think everyone here, other than Tyler, because he's doing amazing, we all know it's tough, man. It's tough.
I feel like there's a pie chart
It's an
somewhere that proves that.
oversell on Tyler, just for the record.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
He's doing fine. I'd say fine.
Okay, this is how shallow my alcohol supply is, gentlemen.
Oh boy,
melon vodka.
For those that aren't watching this on YouTube and are just listening, that is a giant bottle of watermelon Smirnoff.
Well, yummy. Yeah, exactly. Hey,
yummy.
When hey, after I'm done honoring the majestic lion with the mountains are blue, because now that's fucking gone, and I feel like I got to go run to the gas station like now. This is my backup right here. That's all I got. I got nothing. This is all I got in the house. And hell, I don't give a shit.
Nice.
Okay.
He's pulling straight from the bottle, folks.
Well, I mean, we're not, proper around here. We do what we want to do.
No, far from it. Far from it. All right, so good work. Pretty good work. We like to end this show with a little thing that we call it's not a term we made up. It's a curtain call. Anybody got one for us?
I got one. So
hit us.
Anybody that pays attention, the NCAA wrestling finals, the tournament was this weekend. Man, I got to hand it to them guys. 2 years ago, I thought I'd seen the most amazing thing ever when, this really sucks that I can't remember this kid's name, but he was from Penn State, and 2 torn ACLs.
Jesus.
Won the national title. These kids, what they go through over a season to maintain the weight that they've dropped to.
Sure.
But one in particular that I'd like to give a curtain call to is Matt Ramus from Purdue, who took down the giant, took down the monster in Spencer Lee, 3-time national champ, going for his fourth, and number 1 seed. And Matt Ramos from Purdue not only beat him, pinned him.
Fucking A, yeah.
Nice.
On the 125-pound semifinals, guys.
Wow, good for him.
So to Matt Ramos,
pretty amazing.
Hats off, buddy. Nice work.
Yeah, no shit.
Pretty amazing.
Well I'm gonna go maybe not a real popular one, but I love seeing it. I love seeing Edwards defend his belt. Took down Usman.
Crazy, man.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Didn't see
I was
that.
glad to see that. Yeah. Maybe
Does
Usman
that
can talk just a
spell that-
little less shit now. I mean, I'm just saying.
Does that spell the end for the
he's
Nigerian
only-
Nightmare, you think?
No, he's only lost 3 matches. He'll be back.
Yeah.
He got
I mean,
money to make.
I can't believe he'd be done.
Mm-hmm.
I can't either. I don't think
Okay.
he's done.
I just think he's kind of going the McGrath. Like, I think he's got a lot of other
Oh, I'm sure.
like is the saying sticks in the fire?
Endorsements.
Iron
Yeah.
in the fire. Irons in the fire.
Irons in the fire.
Nah, you're rich if you got irons in the fire.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
You got sticks in the fire.
Yeah.
Lee, you got a curtain call?
Yeah, I got one. And it's not because I'm a fan of the program or the team. Tom Izzo, Michigan State head coach basketball. So me being a Duke fan and being a huge Coach K fan who's now retired, and Duke, that's why I kind of stepped off the March Madness because Duke got beat, but whatever. But Tom Izzo, so 4 years ago, there was a shooting on campus. Or no, it wasn't. No, it was no. No, stop. It wasn't 4 years ago. It was on February 13th. February 13th. There was a shooting. There were 3 people killed on the campus of Michigan State. Okay. Tom Izzo has not been in the Sweet 16 for the last 4 years. And Tom Izzo is a historically amazing coach. And he's won. And he's always religiously in the Sweet 16. And the fact that they're going back to the Sweet 16, and again, I'm not a Michigan State Spartans basketball fan, but I am a fan of good people and good coaches. And the fact that what that school and what he has gone through with that school, after 4 years being out, to come back and get him at least to the Sweet 16,
Sure.
I will do a hats off to Tom Izzo. Guaranteed.
Don't ever sleep. Don't ever no matter what they're seeded, because they're 7th seed this year. Just took down number 2 today.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fairleigh Dickinson took out Purdue, a 16 over a 1. That's the second time that's happened ever.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That was crazy. But there's my curtain call. Tom Izzo.
Nice. Shout out Tom Izzo.
Yes, sir.
Very nice. My curtain call, I'm gonna go a little bit of a different route. Something I saw the other day that at first I thought it was gonna be like a funny bit and I was gonna come up with a joke about it. But long haul trucking couples. I think that's something so special and something that's so unique. And you want to talk about love? Holy shit. If you're a long haul trucker that takes not only takes their spouse on the road, but then in turn lets them drive, like an actual real long haul trucking couple. Like it's both of their jobs, like it's both their occupations. That's holy
a lot.
shit. Could you
That's
imagine?
a lot.
That's love.
That's a lot.
That's love.
That's a
That's a
whole
lot.
different kind of love right there.
Yeah.
It's either
That's
love or
something
there are
that-
some fucked up people that love
in the cab of that. In the cab
We
of that
know what-
truck, there's like you if you don't
my
know
God.
everything about your spouse, I give it about 200 miles and you know everything about
Oh
your
my god.
spouse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're in county lines and the smells are starting to change.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
there is nothing you're not going to learn about your spouse in the cab of that fucking tractor. I can promise you that. Good
So,
God.
yeah. Yeah, for
Good
me, man.
God. I don't know. I didn't know
Like-
there's that much love in the world. I mean, listen, I love my
man.
I love
love
my
love.
girlfriend,
Love,
but
love.
damn, I don't know that. Yeah, I'll see you when I get home. So
Yeah, that's
Hey,
shout out.
okay, so here's we're doing our cheers to all the curtain calls. Who's shooting what? I got this fucking watermelon vodka is all I got. Everybody else drinking their beers?
yeah,
I'll chug my beer.
I'll
right.
chug my my Firefly.
Okay.
Hey, and don't forget
Cheers.
everybody out there. Don't forget everybody out there. Cocktails and Curveballs, Gmail. If you got some comments, you want to call us assholes, you want to say we're doing a great job, or you disagree, or whatever.
Probably the latter.
Cocktails and Curveballs on at Gmail, and you can find us on Instagram and Facebook under Cocktails and
Yes,
Curveballs.
sir. Yes, sir.
Oh yeah.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers,
Cheers.
everybody.
Wow. Jimmy, good job on finding that shit at the end. That's impressive.
Yeah.